Hi, everybody. We're just about to begin here, so just wanted to kind of give you that information. Now would be a good time. We are both doing this in person with all of you. I'm so glad you could join us today. And we also have a live stream going, so people that are joining us through what we call the interwebs, which is not the proper term, but online, can also participate from anywhere in the state or beyond state borders if there's people watching from a different place or all that good stuff. So set your phones to vibrate and we'll be talking with you momentarily. Thank you.
6 months have been out. So we are.
So good morning, everybody. My name is Erin Paulus. I am the administrator of the Arizona Talking Book Library, and I want to just thank you for spending a part of your day with us today. I also presented at the 10 o'clock time. So one kind of benefit of being able to do this for the first time, to have that live stream to our social media channels, is any speeches you may have missed throughout the day, you'll be able to access after the fact. And in the future, give us a little time, but we do intend to make that available on cartridge if you don't have access to a computer. So we have with us some special guests today, so I'm not going to go into too much detail right now. I just want to make sure that you have the opportunity to hear from these wonderful people that I have invited here today. So, and as people are coming into the room, just be sure as you're seated, just take a moment to do your switch your phone to vibrate or power it off during the presentation. So to begin this block of speeches, I would like to talk a little bit about our state librarian and director of Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records, which is Holly Henley, my boss. So as a student helper in her elementary school library, Holly Henley made the decision to become a librarian. A native of Virginia, she received her BA from West Hampton College and the University of Richmond, and immediately upon graduation, entered the program from which she earned her MLS, which is a Master's of Library Science degree, at the University of Maryland in College Park. She began her career as a children's librarian and then a bookmobile manager in public libraries in Virginia. After moving to Arizona, she held positions as a teacher librarian and an elementary school assistant principal in the Kyrene School District. But how I know her, for the last 20 years, Holly has been with the Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records, which became a division of the Office of the Secretary of State in 2009. Bringing experience in public and school libraries, she has worked with libraries throughout the state on numerous initiatives, trainings, and grant projects, while serving first as the Youth Services Consultant, then Director of Library Development, Deputy Director, and then Director of Library Services. Currently Arizona State Librarian, she oversees the 6 branches of the State Library, of which the Arizona Talking Book Library is one. So join me in welcoming Holly Henley up to the front.
Thank you for the introduction, Erin, and thank you to you and your dedicated staff for all the work that you've done to get ready for this very special event today. And thank you also to the Arizona Friends of Talking Books, because we know how much they do to help the library and support the library and the work today and every day. So thank you to all of you in the audience, whether you are here in person or whether we're talking to you virtually. We appreciate your joining us, and a very warm welcome to everyone. The theme of my remarks is providing access. So I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes this morning about accessibility, spotlighting the work of the Arizona Talking Book Library in the context of the overall Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records. This state library, as we've said earlier, is a division of the Office of the Arizona Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, and it has 6 different branches, one of which is the Arizona Talking Book Library, and all of the branches have the same mission: preserving Arizona and providing access. At the branches, though, although we all provide access, we do it in different ways. Across the branch is the official depository for the permanent records of Arizona's government and for other historical records as prescribed in the Arizona Revised Statute. The branch serves the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government and Arizonans, providing public access to government information, fostering research, and ensuring that Arizona's history is documented and preserved. The Records Management Branch works with state and local governments in Arizona on managing of non-permanent public records to give access to those records. Thirdly, the State of Arizona Research Library is the state and federal depository that preserves and gives access to comprehensive collections of government agency publications, both in print and online, and current and historic Arizona law materials. The Research Library also collects and gives access to published works related to the history, culture, and development of the state of Arizona, and houses the largest collection of Arizona newspapers in the whole state. The Library Development Branch provides customized support for libraries statewide to help them meet the changing needs of their communities. This support takes many forms, including grant funding, consulting, training for library staff, and continuing education, and access to electronic resources. The State Library receives Library Services and Technology Act funding from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, and these funds are used to support the work of the State Library, including projects within the Arizona Talking Book Library, and also subgrants to libraries statewide to enhance their work in preservation and providing access. And E-rate administration. This is another way that we work with the public libraries. E-rate is a federal program that reimburses eligible schools and libraries for internet and telecom use. So the state library has an administrator that assists staff in the public libraries in applying for E-rate, which is a pretty complicated process. And the E-rate administrator also works with libraries on another newer initiative, and that is providing access to telehealth appointments at public libraries. The state library has helped by providing grants with funds from IMLS again to purchase medical equipment, laptops, and privacy rooms called pods, privacy on demand pods, for appointments for telemedicine in libraries. So how does ATBL specifically contribute to this mission? Well, we're getting to the branch that we're here to celebrate today now. So the majority of the audience here probably already knows how the Talking Book Library provides access. But we hope that we have some people in our audience, maybe here and maybe online, who are not so familiar with the services. And so we just kind of want to recap all the wonderful things that ATBL does to provide access. ATBL is a network library of the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled in the Library of Congress, IMLS, and we're very honored to have a representative from MLS, Kevin Osborne, here with us today, and he's going to be speaking next. But the Talking Book Library provides free access to books, magazines, and other library resources in alternate formats for Arizona residents who are unable to use conventional print materials, with the goal that all may read. Audio and Braille materials are mailed postage free or can be downloaded through BARD, the Braille and Audio Reading Download Service offered by NLS. If you are just now learning about ATBL, you may wonder, well, how is ATBL different and unique from the public library where audiobooks can be checked out? Well, the very special customer service that is provided by the reader advisory librarians, that really keeps this service very unique from what is offered in the public library. And often our reader advisory librarians receive compliments for all of the work that they do and the personalized service and attention that they provide. And especially during COVID, when people were feeling so isolated, the service was referred to as a lifeline. So ATBL is always looking to expand services. The branch administrator, Erin Paulus, and her very dedicated staff are just always looking for how to provide increased access in alternate formats. So throughout my years here at the State Library, I have seen expanded services. And some of the things just to highlight, more recent ones are the Culture Pass program, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing's Currency Reader program, the National Federation of the Blind Newsline audio news service, the Summer Reading program. This has been around for a while, but it has vastly expanded recently, and we're very happy to see that. Working with the Library Development branch on that. And Book Chat virtual discussion group. Also the BARD mobile classes and the Braille e-reader devices. So if you're not familiar with any of these programs and you want some more information, staff are around today, so please talk to them and ask. If you're online and you want more information, please email or phone for more information. And so in conclusion, ATBL currently serves over 5,000 patrons in the state, but we know that there are many more people who could qualify for the services. And so we're always wanting to get the word out. Events like this today help spread the word. So thank you for being with us today, and we hope that you will help us spread that word, that all may read. Thank you.
My little microphone kind of went off in an interesting direction. Here we go. Okay, so next, thank you so much, Holly, for representing kind of the local story of our library. I am very happy to also welcome someone that's going to offer a national perspective to what we do. So we have here, all the way from DC, Kevin Osborne, who's the head of the Network Services section at the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, or as you may know it, NLS. And so I didn't get permission to do this, but your group is very fortunate, and I have NLS right here, right now, so don't talk to him right now, he's busy. After we conclude, feel free to welcome him to our library. If you have any questions about anything, about the program, he can also help. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Too late now. Okay, so Kevin Osborne joined the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled in September 2024 as the head of the Network Service section. So, if I may, a bit of a newbie, but learning quickly. At NLS, he oversees the consultant services, training, and support of all 97 network libraries across the country and overseas services. Before joining NLS, Kevin worked in public, academic, and school libraries, most recently as the Deputy Director of the Fairfax County Public Library. Kevin has been an advocate for the underserved his whole career and fell in love with NLS when he became a network librarian in Alexandria, Virginia in the summer of 2013. So Kevin, come up to this podium and talk to my patrons. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I tend to blather, so if anyone gets bored at like the 10-minute mark, just like throw something at me and I'll stop. Okay, so who am I? Aaron, thank you very much for the introduction. So I am the new head of the Network Services section, which is a very federal sounding thing. We have lots and lots of sections at the National Library Service. What that means is that we are the agency within NLS that supports the talking books libraries across the country, right? So if there's questions about policy or procedure or what the future holds, Aaron reaches out to us, we facilitate training, that kind of thing. That is what NSS is, that's what we do. So I am also responsible for the iBill program, which is the free little device that you can slide currency into and it'll tell you what that bill is. That is a free product you can get. That's in partnership with the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. And I'm also overjoyed to have the wonderful duty of being the NLS liaison to the United States Postal Service. So if any material for the blind gets lost in process, I am your guy. So if your cartridges aren't getting there, or if your player is missing in the mail, reach out to your friends here and they will reach out to me and we will find your stuff. How did I get here? As Aaron mentioned, I was, once upon a time, a network librarian at a sub-regional library in Virginia. I was working as a public reference librarian, and the person who ran our Talking Books office retired, and I was informed that I now also ran our Talking Books office. So I went to a 3-day training in the District of Columbia with Pam Davenport, who just retired, who used to be the consultant for this library. I had no idea NLS existed prior to that, and I had been a professional librarian for kind of a while. And I thought it was just the coolest service in the universe. And I've been trying to get a job there since. So doing math, it's been like a really long time. So I want to say shout out to Aaron and company. I was here yesterday to just observe the operation, and I am beyond impressed with Arizona Talking Books. I would send other libraries here for training. So thumbs up. Excellent all around. I think the podcast was a hoot. I talked to the outreach staff. I'm incredibly impressed at the ability for the team here to do statewide outreach to youth, seniors, everybody. This is a tip-top operation, and it was really good to see a representative from the Secretary of State here to say the same thing. So I am here to talk about the national perspective, and I am sure everybody is wondering what's happening on the national perspective today, because it's Money Day. So I figured I would just kind of talk through the two options of the budget and what may or may not happen today. I work for Congress, and in that capacity, I don't have an opinion. So if they pass a budget through September, which is the next fiscal year, You will not see any kind of impact at all, I guess. If there is a shutdown, I have to leave town first thing tomorrow morning. I don't get to stay until Sunday. Operationally, day to day, for you as a customer, you will not feel an impact. BARD will still work. The Arizona Talking Books office will still be able to get you your cartridges, be able to help you out with your devices. You will be good to go. Certain national level things will hit some friction. So the pilot for the new talking book machine, the DA2, that will get slowed down until staff can return to the office. The pilot work we're doing on BARD 2, which is the expanded, faster, better version of BARD, will also get slowed down. And any applications pending for an I-bill will have to wait until staff can come back in. There's also larger, massive implications about people in the building. So some of the other stuff that NLS does is we have our own reference service that you can call, called the information department. So it is effectively a library, public library reference department. They will obviously not be there to take your calls. The music department, which provides free scores in Braille, they will not be able to send you Braille service. And our international librarian will not be able to support our international users. So that is kind of what we're looking at. I can't speculate, I don't have a crystal ball, but I know everyone's really concerned about the budget, and that is all I know about that. So I want to do a quick rundown of what NLS is. Most people who use the talking books kind of understand it within the context of their own local library, and NLS is, we're off in DC, we're on the other side of the country, what do those people do? So we were started in 1931 to serve blind adults, and pretty soon after, in 1952, it was expanded to serve children. And then in 62, we added music. And in 66, we added physical disabilities. And in 2016, we added refreshable Braille. Right? So somewhere in there, we stopped referring to it as a service for the physically handicapped and started saying print disabled. And print disabled really expanded the people we're able to serve to a much, much, much larger group. One of the things within print disability is dyslexia and dysgraphia. The estimates for dyslexia are as high as 15% of the American population, which means that there's about 50 million customers that I'm not reaching. So that's my goal for the end of the year. A little optimistic, but we'll see what we can pull off. NLS used to be housed in a leased facility kind of in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and in the past year, we have been relocated to the main campus on Capitol Hill. And as such, we have been folded into what I call the mothership a little bit more. We are physically much, much closer to the Librarian of Congress and the Library of Congress, the big, beautiful Jefferson building. So we're doing a lot more with them and with that facility. We have more direct IT support. And the physical proximity to the mothership just makes things a little slicker, makes things easier. So it's been cool. It has been a physical transition of our stuff and our recording studios and all of our staff. All of our visually disabled staff had to learn new metro routes. Metro is what we call our subway. That has proven to be a bit of a challenge. Our building is old. It was built before the ADA, so we're doing all kinds of stuff to make sure it is compliant. But on the good news front, we are in the process of expanding our visitor center capacity. So hopefully in about a year, we will actually be able to host tours and visitors. Some high-ranking people from NFB were actually given a tour today, so we're waiting for feedback to see how they felt about it and what we could do more and better. And a couple other super cool things on the horizon. I want to temper everybody's expectations. Like I can see them, but I can't give them to you today. The DA2, the new talking book machine, I actually have one today, the prototype unit, and we can all go hands-on with it, and I'll show you how to do it. It's pretty cool. We got a lot of great feedback from Aaron's team about the prototype, and we made it better, I think. There's been a lot of confusion about the new talking books machine because it connects to Wi-Fi, and people are concerned that they have to use this. And there was also a rumor going around that it doesn't play cartridges. So no, it still plays cartridges. You can still put the cartridges on it. It does connect to Wi-Fi, so you can actually log into BARD on your talking books machine. And so then your items from your list can basically get beamed to your talking books machine once that's all set up. The setup is like slightly, not the easiest thing in the universe, but don't be afraid, it's not too hard. I can figure it out, and I'm not exactly a tech wizard. So that will be super cool when it happens. We are at like the second pilot phase, and last week the demo unit was sent to every network library for the staff to get hands-on and learn how to use it. So when they do come out for customers, your staff will be dialed in and ready to help you out. The first wave is 22,000 devices, which is obviously not enough for everybody to get one. We will be buying more, you know how these things go. But the actual shipment date hasn't been decided yet, so I don't know, consider this like a teaser trailer. Aaron's raising her hand.
That's for the whole country.
That's for the whole country, yes, I'm sorry, not 22,000 for Arizona. I wish.
Because here it would be, yeah.
I wish, that would be awesome. And you don't have to have one. If you really like your device and you are not interested in learning anything new and it's cool, that's fine. You don't have to have one. Everything's cool. Don't sweat it. Bard 2 is also on the horizon. I'm running the Bard 2 pilot. So Bard, as we know it, the downloadable books, was a homebrewed product that NLS programmed in-house quite some time ago. The product has expanded so much, there's so many more books available that it was time for just a new software that has faster searching, all kinds of stuff. So I've played with it, it's great, it's super cool, but we do need to slowly roll out the whole country onto this new service to make sure it doesn't break. So that will not be a next week thing, but stay tuned. There will be lots of pilots. It will be very cool. I'm very excited about it. I mentioned before how my goals as the new person here to expand service, I want to focus a lot on kids. Lots and lots of children, they're 5, 6, 7, they're in their primary school years, they're being exposed to written text for the first time, and some of those kids are learning that they are having trouble learning how to read, and they don't know why. Ideally, their teacher is noticing this and referring them to a reading specialist, and they are going to get some additional services. This is the gap where I want to put a lot of effort into NLS being there to let people know that children with print disabilities qualify for this service too. Lots of kids' books are getting recorded into Bard. Kids' books are getting brailled. If you talk to the folks downstairs about the outreach they do to youth, you can actually see some of these really amazing tactile storybooks. This is a group of people who deserve our service, and we have heretofore had a lot of trouble reaching. So that is a very big thing for me. And of course, as you probably know, NLS was originally established as a veterans service because of people who lost their vision in World War I. Veteran services continues to be our #1 directive. And obviously, we had about 22 years of the global war on terror, and there are a lot of service members who didn't necessarily lose their vision, but they might have lost physical ability, they might have had a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, or anything else that could have impeded their ability to process text differently than they did before. Those people also qualify. We have a Veterans VA Administration Rapid Sign-Up program that we're hoping to expand. So I have high hopes for NSS in the future, and I look forward to meeting you all out there on the floor. And if anyone wants to see a DA2, I really do have it. You can come play with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So that being said, that's pretty exciting. I have things to do today. I might just dart off and look at the machine, but I'll stay with you. So what I would suggest for Kevin is maybe after he kind of says hello to some people here, to go ahead and I'll station him at our device advice booth at the other end of the room here. And before you head downstairs, if you want to be among the first patrons across the country to be able to get that in your hands and kind of experience that, take advantage of it before you head out today. So the final speaker at this point in time is near and dear to my heart. His name is Frank Vance, and he is representing us, wearing multiple hats today. And I won't get too deep into his presentation, but so is Arizona Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired across the street. And I do want to mention that we have some of his staff downstairs today if you want to talk to them about their services, and that also, you would be able to tour their facility today if you have time after visiting with us. You would just go to the front of their building on Roosevelt. And then also a board member for the Arizona Friends of Talking Books group I've been mentioning throughout the day. And first and foremost, a patron. But getting a little bit into his bio, I was just very excited. I had to talk about all the other things. So, a third-generation Arizonan, Frank Vance has been a patron at the Talking Book Library since the early 70s as a junior high student. He represented our library in the late 80s as a member of a technology committee hosted by the National Library Service for the blind and what was then the print handicapped in Washington, or physically handicapped. Frank has also been a member of our Arizona Friends of Talking Books organization since it began in the early 2000s. For nearly 40 years, Frank has worked at the Arizona Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, where he currently serves as Director of Alumni Affairs and Client Engagement. During those years, he has introduced literally thousands of people to the life-changing services of our library. Frank lives in North Phoenix with Chris, his wife of 39 years. They have 2 adult children, Emily and Ethan. In addition to our friends group, Frank is active with his church and his homeowners association. So let me go ahead and we will be handing off the proverbial baton to Frank. And head your way, Frank. Here we are, right in front.
Okay, am I on? How about now? This was
Let me
better.
take a peek. Yeah, I see a green.
Okay. You're accepted. Well, after that nice introduction, there's not too much left for me to say.
Oh, shucks.
So, I was thinking about my remarks, which I'll be sharing from a few different perspectives, and I was thinking about the timeline, and think I might hit Walgreens on the way home and get some Geritol because I'm feeling kind of old. I was one of those people that had my hand up when Aaron said, "How many of you remember the record players?" So that's about the time I became a talking book patron. I had myopia as a child, very, very nearsighted. And by the time I was in middle school or junior high, I got my first talking book. And it was accompanied with a big old clunky record player. And I gotta be honest, I was not enamored. I wasn't much of a reader. I was just more of a like to be out doing stuff kind of a guy. But by the time I got into high school, my retinas had detached and I lost all of my vision. And at that point, I became a lot more interested in talking books. And I still had to endure that record player for a little while, but they were starting to issue talking books on cassette tapes, which was, even though it was a long time ago, it was a 100% improvement because those records, after they've been in circulation for a while, they really get scratched up. Super annoying. The tapes were a little bit better. They'd get tangled up sometimes. You know, I'd get a broken cassette tape, but it was a big improvement. And I got through high school and I went to college and I got a degree in psychology and a master's degree in counseling. And I didn't enjoy talking books as much as I wanted to because I was enjoying a lot of textbooks instead, an awful lot of them, and really dry. The people that narrate the talking books are a lot more inspiring than some of the volunteers that recorded textbooks. But when I was finished with school, I got employed at what we now know as the Arizona Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And I literally have over thousands of times introduced people to talking books. It's such a game changer. What we do at the center is we help people adjust to vision loss. We want them to be successful and to be engaged in life. And we do that through counseling. We do that through teaching mobility skills so that people can learn how to travel safely using public transportation or getting around in different kinds of environments. We teach independent living skills, homemaking skills, cooking, organization, things like that. We teach people how to use assistive technology, which is what you learn when you can't see the screen anymore. And we do all of that really, really well. So when people lose vision, maybe for the first time, well, let me back up a little bit. I'd like you to imagine a pie chart. And we'll call this your pie chart of engagement. It doesn't look like mine, it doesn't look like anybody else's, but yours individually. And mine has slices for family, friends, church, community, professional career, entertainment, travel, and there's no right formula that everybody's chart should look the same way. But when you lose vision, all of a sudden, your chart's going to change an awful lot. It's going to be significant. Maybe the professional career is going to go away. Maybe the friends and family is going to change a little bit. Maybe your community engagement and your travel, maybe that's going to change a little bit because you got some things you need to learn to be able to engage again. What if you had lost all of a sudden your ability to read print? Now, that's something we take for granted, at least most people do. I mean, you're driving down the road, another thing people take for granted. You're looking at all of these signs and the signage over stores and the road, traffic signs, things like that. Of course, we read books, we read magazines, internet, social media, just all kinds of stuff. And when that goes away, what does that do to your pie chart? So the Talking Book Library, I love it more than I ever would have imagined back in the days when I just wasn't that interested in reading. They make reading accessible for just about anybody that wants access to it. There are a lot of people who live in communities where they don't have transportation. Access to the kind of training we provide at the Arizona Center for the Blind is very, very limited. But at least a person can engage their mind. And that's how we learn about the world around us, is through reading. So really happy about all of the good work that the Talking Book Library does. And on behalf of the Arizona Friends of Talking Books, we started that organization in like the very early 2000s, I think 2001 or 2. Had a very, very lovely lady by the name of Harriet McIntosh, who really felt like we needed a kind of a support organization to help with special projects that the library has. And what a wonderful group of people they are, and I understand quite a few of them are here today. If you get a chance to meet one or two, be sure you introduce yourself. Anyway, on behalf of those folks, thank you guys for being here and taking in these presentations in person or online, and enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much. So that concludes our current speakers. We'll have some additional starting up at 12 o'clock, but just as far as where you can go at this point, if you haven't had the opportunity yet, I would encourage you to head back toward the back of this area and talk to the folks at Maricopa County Elections who are here to demonstrate your accessible options for voting. Once you leave this area, there's going to be a different aisle that you'll be heading down to go to the elevator. We'll have Kevin here at the front to first, if you want to talk to him real fast, and then we'll spirit him away to the device advice booth on the other side of this room here. And then downstairs, you have the option to meet with some of those exhibitors downstairs, and also if you want to experience what it's like to record something in one of our soundproof booths, staff and volunteers can lead you there before you leave for the day. So just as a reminder, what I had already mentioned, thank you, Frank, for also representing Arizona Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, who have been strong partners with us. And then they have wonderful services, and you can find out all about it before you leave today. So again, thank you so much for being with us and continuing your journey, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.